I wonder why there's a little box on my screen now. Mouse, when I moved it over to the record button, made this little box appear right down here, like a little box. I don't know what if it'll show up on the video or not, but this is my cat Dahlia. She is again bothering me, but mm, how much bother can a cat really be? Except when she gets up on my bookcase here and knocks stuff over, then she's quite irritating. This video is going to be again nothing of a concrete subject, but just an observation I have. And I think it's talks to part of the American identity. Um, and that is that if you tell an American if you tell an American that they have to do something, I think their initial reaction is that they don't want to. They're at least skeptical and need an explanation as to why they um they have to do something. And if they don't find the explanation satisfactory, they will simply refuse to do it. Now, the best way to get an American to do something is to tell them that they can't, or that it's forbidden to do something, and that will instantly make an American want to do it. Um, and I think it's fundamental to our identity, our spirit is that we're reluctant to do stuff we're forced to do, and we're more inclined to do stuff that we're not supposed to do. Uh, at least by legal standards. Like when I was younger, I smoked a lot of pot. You're not supposed to smoke pot back then, and which is funny because the kids growing up nowadays, who are like, 12 and so. They'll by the time they're 21, they will have lived in the world, at least depending on the state they're in, where it's legal to smoke pot. Um, Now, I'd probably still be smoking pot if it wasn't legal. I would probably still be smoking a lot less because it was overpriced. Now you can see my cat wants to get up on my table or anywhere. She just wants to explore and see everything because she's a whore cat, aren't you? You're a whore cat. Yes, you are. My little whore cat. Um, but um, but and this is going to be more an interactive video. Do you find yourself more inclined to refuse to do something when you're told to? And are you more inclined to do something when you're told you can't? Um, and is that strictly an American thing, or is it something that people in other countries and other regions of the world also find that they are prone to do? Um, because I have a feeling it's distinctly an American way of thinking that anytime we're told to do something or that we have to do something, we're instantly skeptical and will generally just outright refuse to do it if we can. And for the most part, we can because there's not a lot of things in this country that we actually have to do, like the masks. We Here in Oregon, we were told by our glorious leader, Kate Brown, that we have to wear masks. And apparently, I was unaware of this when the first mask mandates happened last year or the year before. I don't know how long it's been now. It's been like going on 600 days now to flatten the curve. Um, that's the longest 15 days I've ever. Again, that's this concept of them getting us to believe 2 + 2 is 5. It may not necessarily be that actual like analogy, but they're getting us to believe things that we before would not have believed. Um, and then it's not every American that feels that way. I was coming back to the pot shop today, and there was this elderly couple, a guy with a really long, cool beard, and a lady, and the lady had a mask on, and he didn't have a mask on. And I know for a fact this shop isn't too strict on the masks. They've been pretty lenient about me not wearing a mask in there. And he's like, I hear him say, "Oh, I forgot my mask," and I made a comment to him. It's like, they're not too super strict on the mask at the shop. If you don't want to wear one, you don't have to. And I'm like, unless you like wearing one. He's like, yeah, I like wearing them. I'm like, okay. Um, and I think the majority of people wear them because they believe the lie that they actually work. Whereas I was skeptical, like I think most Americans should be, and if they aren't, they need to be, about people telling us what is good and what is not good. Uh, because I don't think it's the American spirit to just go along with the authorities telling you to do something. I think it's in our nature, in our DNA, as it were, to question authority, even if it is authority that is temporary and limited and more civilian based, like our government was supposed to be. We're still very, very skeptical of people because we at the end of the day, as Americans, know that people will do shady stuff, and then the more free a society is, the more wonkiness that can go down. You know, you don't see a lot of wonkiness in North Korea because there's no freedom for them to do that. They have to comply, and when it gets to those measures, the slightest infraction can lead to very catastrophic punishments. And you see that, like, if one family member of a family in North Korea does something wrong, not only do they punish that person, um, but if they can't punish that person, they'll punish the entire family. Uh, Uncles, nephews, nieces, moms, dads, grandpas, grandmas, they all end up in the gulag, a North Korean gulag, um, simply to suppress dissident. But here in America, you don't like something, you can protest fucking till the cows come home. And I mean peaceful assembly of protesting. I mean shouting or carrying signs or airing your grievances. I don't mean burning down your local CVS in the name of racial equality, which is uh, kind of funny because 90% of the stores that were destroyed in those riots were owned by minorities because they were in minority communities. And so the majority of the businesses, they're owned by minorities. So you're saying you're fighting inequality of the system by burning down businesses of people you say the system is hurting. So it's really kind of fucking stupid when you sit down and think about it. But if you get a mob together, they kind of forego reason and logic and follow the person with the loudest voice. And it only takes a few to move a mob in a certain direction against maybe their fundamental better judgment. Um, but this video is about just how we Americans, at least I believe we should be, is hesitant and questioning of authority, um, whether it's telling us to do or not to do something. I think we need to get into the habit of questioning. Just even just simple questioning, I think is enough. Um, but if you don't question at all, then you'll just go along with any fucking two-bit fucking mandate or dictate or legislation that's passed. And even if it's a legislation that's passed, if you feel it's unjust, you have a obligation to fight it. And that may mean going to jail, that may mean facing court time or jail time. But if you don't fight what you think is right or wrong, then you're complicit in that. And then you're just more so affirming why they're allowed to do that. Um, and so, as an American, I think we all need to find ways in our life where we can practice critical objections to things that people tell us who have authority over us. Because just because they've been elected in office does not mean they're God, does not mean that they can dictate every aspect of your life. Their main purpose in their role as a government official is to maintain our society, cities, states, whatever, for the betterment of the citizens, not for the control and manipulation and subversion of the citizens, which places like here in Oregon are just going full bore fucking commie. Not as bad as Australia, but we still have our guns and our First Amendment. They have neither. And you see what happens when a country who is thought of being very, very first world, very, very uh, part of the international community, relatively decent track record when it comes to things, but you see how they very, very fastly became a police state again, uh, which is sad because Australia, they fought long and hard to to drop that moniker of a prison state to become an actual country, albeit they're still ruled by the crown, I think, to some capacity, like Canada is. And, um, but I think we Americans we need to remember that questioning authority doesn't mean that we hate authority or we want to overthrow authority. It means that we want to make sure that authority is doing its job and not overreaching. Um, and that's it. It's getting really close to midnight. It's 11:59, and I don't like working on Saturday. And we got a minute to Saturday, so I'm going to end this now. And just think and question and ask yourself if what they're saying is actually in the best interest of you or just to placate and to maintain their control and power. Thank you and goodbye.